Macmillan actually to put together this dictionary, and Oxford then said they'll back them with the necessary finances. So they sent out via press releases, bookmarks, little sheets of paper to librarians. They sent out these notices so that people could contribute to the Oxford English Dictionary. So just to show you, even in the 19th century, we already did marketing and we already did collaborative writing. It's not a new thing.
It's crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing. Technology just made it so much easier.
User-generated content.
Yeah. So if you think about it, the Oxford English Dictionary is user-generated content. So I thought that was the most amazing thing I read this weekend, and I thought I'd just better share it with you. Okay. Now, if we look at authors, what can you remember Talita said when she was here to lecture? What was the one thing she said about authors that stood out to you?
They can be troublesome.
Hey?
They can be troublesome.
They can be troublesome.
The ones that are the most famous are the easiest to deal with, but the little ones are the biggest nightmare.
Absolutely.
And I've noticed that it's very, very
Is it? So who are your favorite authors?
Emma.
Lewis?
Sonny Patterson.
What does he write? She write?
She is a poet.
Oh wow.
And performance artist. Her work is similar to that of Nikki Giovanni.
Okay. So you might use her in your assignment 3.
Maybe.
Yeah. Levo, your favorite artist? Your favorite author?
Well, not really a favorite author, but a favorite genre. So
Yeah.
I just, as long as it's not fiction and it's more political.
Oh wow. So non-fiction. You like non-fiction. That's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Do you have a favorite author in that genre? It's hard to say. There are so many.
The only thing about people that write those books is that they don't really continue to write. For instance, you have a really Kabi would probably have like 2 books, 3 books. So it's not people that write all the time.
That is a good, interesting point.
Yeah.
I want to encourage you to use that genre when you do assignment 3, because I think we could get some interesting knowledge out of that. Because how would they be involved then? Maybe they are very, very public figures. So there is already some level of involvement from them without them necessarily even hosting one online chat with any readers. They're already involved.
Yes, it's like even their books, by the time they come out, everybody's waiting for it.
Okay, that's interesting. Pauline, do I have the names right? You must please help me. My brain is fish-paste after.
Locally, I'll go with Lect.
Oh, wow.
And internationally, Judy Pico.
Wow. Oh, but she writes such sad things.
Yeah, I know.
Shit, I read Zakes Dodge University. Eh?
Same.
Yeah.
Like outside of school.
But I think maybe I should. Yeah. Madam, your favorite author?
I don't have one, but I read a lot of fiction.
Okay. Okay, you're going to have to find one. Catherine?
Brandon Sanderson.
What does he write? Hey?
He's a fantasy writer.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't say Terry Pratchett. Because I mean, yes, he's good, but let's get something else. Good. Or Ursula Le Guin. I mean, that's even better. Yes.
I have 2 of them, just like it's Dan Brown,
Oh, yes.
because Dan Brown, and Derek Landy. He's a young adult.
Okay. That's what you're doing your research on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mine's Rainbow Rowell, also young adult, and Patrick Rothfuss.
What does he write?
He's a fantasy writer, so he does like Kingkiller Chronicles,
Oh, wow.
old magic, Forgotten Roots, so it's kind of like you're learning about alchemy and
Oh, wow. Okie dokie.
Yeah, inside.
Nicole?
had all of this time.
It will, like my favorite, like I suppose my favorite author at
the moment for like young adult would be Sarah J. Maas, but I'm very fond of like the classic, so like Jane Austen
Me too.
and the Bronte and that as well.
Imagine if they could tweet today. Hey? Just imagine that. Maybe
Do
that's.
you think they would?
I think they would.
I think your Jane Austen would be.
I totally think they
She'd
would.
be J.K.
Rowling,
like
calling
out
out people on like misogyny.
Yeah,
stuff.
she'd
I
be
can imagine
Absolutely.
Walt Whitman tweeting.
She'd be
Hey?
like Trump if
I
you
can imagine
hide your
Walt Whitman
prejudice.
tweeting.
You
Walt
will
Whitman.
Like besties.
Yeah.
But I do think someone like Jane Austen, even Charles Dickens, I think he would also tweet or have a website.
You'd
Maybe
be like,
that's next year's assignment. Do a comparison of the old and the
you'd
new.
be like Stephen King, I think.
I've never read Stephen King.
No, Stephen
Oh,
King's
yeah.
tweets.
Yeah.
Because he's very involved online.
So I would have to say, in terms of fiction, my favorite writer is Roald Dahl. I'm a Roald Dahl. I read it like a child every year. Matilda, it's like an anniversary in my life. I think I am Matilda earlier in my life.
Are you going to the stage though?
Yes, yeah. And but I do have to say I really enjoy reading Emily Bronte lately. So I do
Ooh,
like some of the
nice.
classics as well. I never knew what the issue was with Wuthering Heights, and then when I finally did read it, I was like, I hate him, I love him, I hate him, I love him. So Garfield forever. So definitely, yeah. But lately I've been reading everything. I don't have any favorite authors because I have a stack load of books and everything looks great to me. So that's where I am. Right. But authors are notoriously difficult or easy to work with. Okay. I just want to find, there was a quote that I highlighted and now for the life of me I can't find it. Let me just quickly find it. That I want to read to you. It'll come to me. Okay, so if you, chapter 11, on page 283 where we start, it says there, one of the remarkable developments over the past 5 years has been the rise of author involvement in marketing. As you say, if we had to think about someone like Jane Austen, would that have been possible previously? I don't think so. I think the whole concept of collaboration in business is quite new. And one has to keep in mind that those female authors also wrote, and they were already an enigma because they were female writers. So they really struggled to get published. I mean, who wrote Little Woman?
It was at the quiz night. We had this exact.
Because she was also turned down like 7 times. And if you think about J.K. Rowling, she was turned down 8 times before she got published. So there's an element of the, hey?
Louisa May Alcott.
That's it, Louisa May Alcott. So she really struggled to get her work published. So in that time, women were already facing the struggles just for being women, because why do women write and want to get published? Writing and publishing was a man's business. Right, Liz. Just pulling yourself. You're the only man here. I'm gonna pick on you tonight. Okay. Publishers, however, increasingly rely on authors to help them promote projects to which they have jointly committed. And the extent of their online connectedness may play a big part in decisions over whom to commission. So what you see very often is that when publishers decide to publish an author, they actually look at their persona and their presence in the online space. So to what extent do they have a great following on social media? How verbal are they at literary events without getting published, because you can be? Where do they write? Where do they voice their opinions? So almost doing a background search or a profile on authors becomes quite important before we decide to publish them. Okay. But once we do decide to publish them, there's almost this love-hate relationship sometimes. Some authors feel that without them the publishers would be nothing, and the publishers feel it's a great idea for a book. If you're giving me crap, then I might get someone else to write it. So there's always been a strong love-hate relationship. But obviously they are part of that creative process and we cannot exclude them. So, how an individual author feels about their publishing house is likely to depend very strongly on their path to getting published. Okay. And you'll see in the assignment for the master students, I've asked that you talk about the role of the author who has or was self-published before. Because authors who were self-published and who then sold out to a commercial publisher has a different view of sales and marketing. And they are often very much more involved than authors who were commissioned or who sent in an uncommissioned manuscript and the publisher then decided to publish it. Okay. Now, important things for publishers to understand about authors. Most authors have and need a strong ego. Why do we say that? What's ego got to do with it?
Because yeah, it's their writing. They put in a lot of effort and a lot of time and possibly money, and it's a part of them. And when you critique their work, you're critiquing
Absolutely.
And they get that charisma to kind of like attract people to read it. Like the more charismatic, the more prone you are to read their book.
So what about authors who write under is it a pseudonym?
Yeah.
Do you know any authors who write under a pseudonym?
No, that's her real name.
No, but
She did, hey? Didn't she initially write?
I think they put it as J.K. Rowling because they said that most people will not buy a book with her, what's her full name, if it was
Yeah.
female. So they wanted to do something that was
Okay, kind of
Gender-free.
gender free,
She
yeah.
wanted to publish a book without her name as well, after the Harry Potter books. She wanted to.
Yeah, was
to
that
be on
other
its
book
own merit.
that's Lonely Strange?
I didn't read it.
Or Beale the Bard, wasn't that? No, that one she also did as Jackie Rowling. Okay. So think about, for example, authors that pseudonym. What I can tell you from being a publisher myself, that's probably the hardest job as a publisher is working with authors. Because they want to hear the whole time how fabulous they are. They really do. At the end of the meeting, you're really tired of smiling all the time. I know you can do it. I really know you can do it. I know this is very hard for you. That's what you do the whole time. So there's a yes, the ego is important. Yes, they've invested a lot of work into this. And there's a very fine balance between making them feel important and valued and aggravating them or making them feel that they're not important in the process. And when you are a publishing intern at a company, to have that sensibility towards who the authors are, and each of them will have different sensibilities. And you're a good publisher when you understand different sensibilities, and if you know what their needs and their likes are. We did a big exercise once at Pearson where we actually profiled our authors. So we did all the biographical stuff, name, surname, were they married, how many kids did they have, in which grade were their kids, where were their kids studying. So the whole idea was if we understood the authors better, we could to a certain extent meet their sensibilities and go beyond. Because they want to know that. They want to know that it's not just, you're giving me content and we're going to make money off the content. So managing that ego is extremely important. Okay. The second point there, authors are often socially isolated. Yes or no? Let's discuss.
I think even like some can be extroverts or some can be introverts, but during that writing process, they're with their computer and they don't have a lot of interaction. So when it comes to the point where you're publishing, they aren't maybe used to, or they've forgotten what it's like to actually be
with
around
people.
people all the time.
Yeah. So they are very isolated in the writing process. And the moment that that writing process is done, they want that recognition. That they are valued and that the process is done and that now we're going to take this and we're going to fly with it. Okay. So they also have high expectations of all the hard work that they put in. And those high expectations have to be met with sales and marketing. So if they feel that your investment into sales and marketing is not worth it, is not going to do their work justice, that's very often where conflict starts. Think about what Talita said as well, when she talked about they have an actual budget to spend, and depending on the size of the author or their popularity, that is how much budget spent they get. I can honestly tell you, authors are never satisfied with marketing. They can always do with more. Okay, so no matter what you do, they always want a little bit more. It's become easier because in the digital value chain, the possibility for authors to cut out the publisher from that speaking to the reading market, because that's there, it means that they have such a greater responsibility and an opportunity to create a voice around their publication. So that's happening. If authors are doing it right, they are talking to their readers right from the start. And how a publisher comes into that picture to say we're going to use your tools or we're going to expand on your tools. So it's not just about doing these things, about flyers and fancy booklets and things like that, but actually seeing what assets and resources the author already has that the publisher can leverage on. And I think that in the digital world that we're living in is a big advantage for publishers. We've never had that. Very often when an author was published, it would be someone that might be known in specific circles, but they never had a large enough voice that can speak to, for example, someone who listens to that voice who is geographically far removed from the author. So in a certain degree, the world has become smaller for the author and bigger. And that gives the publisher a lot of opportunities. Okay, so to find those opportunities of where can I leverage the assets of the author to increase sales, and where can I add value to those assets. Okay, you might find an author that has a website, but that's terribly designed, or that does not have a specific focus or view or vision for their website. And how do you partner with them to take what they have and to make it better? I think the chance of publishers nowadays, especially in trade, finding an author who doesn't have some kind of online presence is nearly zero. Because every article you type in about, I want to publish, and then you'll find articles on how to promote yourself. Okay, everybody's famous online. That's what I was saying when we did self-publishing at Media 24. Everybody's famous online. So every author is as well. Okay, so although they are socially isolated where they write, they are very much connected with the readership, whereas previously they weren't. Previously it really was, we're going to write and we're going to see what happens. If you take something simple like Carrie Bradshaw, the Six in the City series, every time she published a book, it would be this massive press release in the New Yorker. And that was like the first time she had a launch, and then the press release came in. And that was the first comments she'd get on the book. And then people would start buying the book, but there was very traditional methods. Whereas now, authors can talk directly to the consumer. They can even give them parts of the book already to look through. And the popular authors like doing that. They like saying, well, I'm not going to wait until the book's finished. Think about The Shack that we used as an example in the first lecture. I'm going to make parts of this book available for free and hear what my readers would like. Do they like that? So the author has a big role. Yes, they're isolated, but they're also not isolated. They have a great opportunity to speak to their readers. Authors are over-concerned with their own work. Really?
Yeah, it looks naturally, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. You're all overly concerned with your own work and you just write academic essays. So it's a natural thing for them to be. Authors worry. It's not uncommon for those marketing titles to have little understanding of their subject matter. And the more specialized the title, the more likely this is. So they worry. Do the publishing team really know what I'm trying to say? Do the marketing team really know who to target for this publication? Do the marketing team know where to go? Have they contacted every bookshop? Has it been sent to every newspaper for a comment or a press release? Has so-and-so made a comment? They have literally checklists in their mind about everything all the expectations that they have.
There's an author at work who somehow got my email address. I'm a production assistant. I work with like the physicality of the book.
Yeah.
He sends me like an email. I think the publicity of this book is extremely poor, and what are you planning to do about it? I'm like, hello.
Yeah.
What? hate
Yeah.
to trust this person.
If they hook onto someone in the company,
Yeah,
that's
she's
like
like
to follow.
addresses everything to me, and I'm like, I don't know you.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, authors will always feel that enough is not being done. And that is where our challenge and again our opportunity lies. Because authors can do so much more for themselves. On the other hand, as publishers, we very often say, what do you buy when you buy into the rights of a publishing company? It is that powerful marketing arm. So to what extent do we leverage that marketing arm? And then it comes back to the whole discussion around publishing brand versus author brand. Remember we talked about that right at the start. When is the author's brand bigger than the publisher's brand, and vice versa? So who publishes J.K. Rowling? Bloomsbury. Do you think anybody knew Bloomsbury before J.K. Rowling? What was their hit before J.K.
What
Rowling?
else did they publish?
What else did they publish before that? Didn't they publish Enid Blyton? Why do I think they did?
Well, they might, because I think they publish a lot of the big young adults, the successful young adult ones, because even the Sarah J. Maas books are like Bloomsbury.
Yes. So do you think their success with one author has led to success with other authors?
I think because I was like now that I suppose now that I'm in the publishing industry, I look and go, you know, if Bloomsbury published
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling, you know, then they must be publishing good books.
Okay.
But
Who publishes Dan Brown? It's an imprint from Penguin.
There's a bird on there.
No.
The actual thing.
Wait,
It's a different publisher. It's not Stellenberg.
Yeah, so Penguin is a representative for the.
That's the rights for it.
So think about that question. Who publishes Stephen King?
Stephen King.
Huh?
Stephen King.
she did.
Harder and Stoughton. We're publishing students. We know the authors. We don't know the publishers. So it's not irregular. Because that's the reality. Those authors become bigger than the publishing brand.
Well, when I started working, someone said, "Oh, congratulations, where are you working?" And I said, "I'm Pearson." And then he replied, "Oh, is that the Penguin people?"
Oh, I'm sorry, that's funny.
So like Penguin seems to be like the biggest brand for publishers.
I
and that's
think
what
so.
the only-
Sorry, I need to put my internet on, then I can show you some examples. Is that the Penguin people? No, that would be Penguin.
Yeah.
I wonder, let me just get down.
No,
No, I'm sure it isn't.
That's a thing.
Yeah, my favorite is the publishing industry dying with ebooks.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
No,
one.
like, books still need to publish. Those juicy books, it still exists. Also, they still need to make them. No.
Yeah, but
So what do you
Let's go.
Staple.
We're so afraid this thing goes off today.
Well, I think so, just like go on and stop showing
Softly, softly.
all the gossip. And like people look at me like, that's not that interesting. I'm like, this is so interesting. That's all they're doing. I use this publisher. Then they had to change it because the wife said this.
And then once you do it,
Okay, I'm gonna test your knowledge a bit. Okay.
No.
there's more than one thing in it.
There's a lot that goes into publishing, guys.
So, the J.K. Rowling is best known for? Good. Just testing you on number one. Stephen King, what was his best known book?
It's all The Shining.
The Shining, 1980s The Shining. That later became a. Let's see if you remember. Oh, you can't see! So there we go. George R.R. Martin for
Song of Fire and Ice.
for Game of Thrones.
The series outwrote the author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he can't even keep up writing anymore. He's now got 2 writers assisting him. So if you buy the book series, I'm sorry.
It's not really
It's not, oh my goodness, the chair broke. I'm not that heavy, am I?
No, you didn't get the broken one already.
I don't know.
There was a broken one already.
I think it might be the broken one, but I'll just sit very quietly. Okay, then who do we have next? E.L. James.
50 Shades.
Yes, and what is 50 Shades?
Fan fiction.
Fan fiction. Based on?
Twilight.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
yes. Fan fiction based on Twilight. 84 million views for that trailer. Heavens. John Green.
All of the stars.
Hey?
Let it snow.
Turtles all the way down.
John Green.
All of the young adult fiction.
Kind of like.
The Fault in Our Stars.
Is there anything that he writes that doesn't have anybody dying?
He has a really good YouTube channel.
He has more than 3.42 million Twitter followers.
Wow. So
And his brother Hank Green.
That is odd. He is an odd person, it seems. Oh, Nicholas Sparks.
Romance.
Romance.
breath of anything within a
Isn't
chapter.
it the notebook?
The Notebook.
Milton Moon.
Did you say what?
Who has not seen The Notebook, the movie?
I have not.
Oh, it is pretty. You
I
have to
actually
see
I
it.
watched every Nicholas Sparks except for the notebook.
Oh, he's very. I mean, look at that face. He's like just an author to sell. Right, who do we have next? Gillian Flynn.
It's not like she really Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Gone Girl.
But I didn't like it. It was
Oh,
scary.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I watched the movie and it was horrific.
The movie, I was
8.5 million copies of the novel sold by the movie's release.
like, it's okay.
It's amazing, eh? Okay, who we have next? James Patterson.
What's it, the Jake Riders, something.
Jack Wright. Yeah, Jack.
Jack Reacher.
Jack.
What does he do?
His new one is he's got the president's missing, that's his new one.
So they say he's best known for Along Came a Spider. He's the one that Talita said is so easy to work with. Yeah. Okay, so number 9, Michael Lewis.
Nope, Lewis, who's that?
Not Michael Jackson, Michael Lewis.
I have no idea.
Moneyball. I don't know him.
Money.
I know that movie. It wasn't Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, could be.
Or was it Brad Pitt? One of those.
One of those two. Laura Hillenbrand. Do we know who that
She was
is?
decreasing of
Seabiscuit. She wrote Seabiscuit.
Wow. And Unbroken.
Sure, and Unbroken.
Did that also?
Dennis Lehan. Mystic River. I don't know who these people are. Susan Collins. The Hunger Games. Okay, so this is a nice. I'll send you this link because they summarize their social media as well. Matthew Quick, Silver Linings Playbook was also a lovely movie. See how many of them became movies. Diana Gabaldon, Outlander,
Guys, seriously, one of the greatest books.
David Graham, The Lost City of Z.
I had the book in my house for
Where's his
one
head?
and then I watched the
He was eaten by zombies in The Lost City of Z. Seth Graham Smith, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh my.
Hilary Mantel, she's the only 2-time winner of England's prestigious Man Booker Prize. Wow.
I've never heard of it.
What did she write? Wolf Hall, which is also a series now. Wolf Hall. Ken Follett, Pillars of the Earth. It's wonderful. Do you know Ken Follett?
Nope.
And you call yourself sci-fi readers. Nick Hornby,
Sci-fi is not fantasy.
About the Boy. Nathaniel Philbrick. Martin said, I know him. Okay. Yeah, so there's all the nice ones. All right, we're going to look at these websites now. There was a point I'm trying to make here when we look at these authors. We see the authors, we might see the movie, we hardly ever see the brand of the publisher. I I'm going to dare to venture to say if you ask anyone who publishes Game of Thrones, they're going to say HBO.
Absolutely.
Because HBO has taken over the series, and they are also the ones who create the merchandise along with the series, not the publisher.
They earn all the rights.
They own the rights. Okay. So subsidiary rights for authors can be big. And I think every author thinks their book is the next Harry Potter or the next. Everybody thinks that. And the moment an author tells you who's your target market, everyone. No. Okay, and every author will say that. So they're over concerned with their own work because they think they're unique and they think they have a special voice and a special story and a special book to publish. And that is where the curation role of the publisher comes in. You have to look at this and you have to decide, is this really valuable? Does this fit in with my publishing list and our core business functions? Does this fit in with where we see the zeitgeist of the reading market go for which we are publishing? Does this fit in with our target market or audience which we aim to target? Or, remember the Unsoft matrix, is this a new product for a new market who we've never ventured into and we made some profit last year, we can throw some money at the problem? So as a publisher, you have to make decisions on whether you take on an author or not. But every author will come with the same issues. Okay. Did you get that, Mr. Lewis? I see you've got a question. Authors worry they will probably underestimate your role or overestimate it in her case. She's in production, but she can sort out the public relations. Okay. They don't know what to do. I remember when we at Van Skype Publishers, we had a publisher's pack. And in that publisher's pack was everything you as a publisher had to discuss with an author once you kind of agreed to work together. In that publisher's pack, we had the contract, for example, we had explanations about subsidiary rights, we had how to prepare a manuscript, then we had a diagram that shows the publishing process in Van Skype. Then we had a diagram with an overlay on the publishing process of what I do and what the author does. Okay? And the moment it comes to sales and marketing, they all want to be involved. And they all will tell you, I have lots of great ideas. Okay? Because they all know where to sell their book. But explaining the different roles is vital to authors. When you take on publishing, and more so when they become part of the marketing process. And drawing that fine line, where does the author publish their voice, especially in the digital environment, and where do we publish our voice? Where is it the author? Where is it the publishing house? What do you experience at Jonathan Baldwin?
With authors, I think they agree on what to publish, especially on social media. But then with this one, recently they just published Melusi, Everyday Zulu. Melusi had the Facebook page with all the content in there, so he decided to publish a book after the Facebook page was created. So with that one is different because already the page is running, and he constantly posts Zulu names and explain what they mean, and that's what the book is all about. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
So the social media and the book become almost complementary to each other.
So already they have that thing of Melusi is already posting this, and the book also
Has it. Yeah. That's very good.
Other authors,
Do you think it's harder to use social media as an author when you do non-fiction?
No.
I feel like it's even better, especially if it's non-fiction. It's already out there. I want to know more about it and get me there.
So fiction authors might focus on storytelling, and non-fiction authors will focus on rendering facts, perhaps, or
dialogue. Maybe.
dialogue. That's nice. Yeah. So each of the authors have different roles. Okay. They will probably underestimate their role. They probably earn less than their publishers.
Probably.
Really?
Is there a case where an author earns more?
The thing is, there are career authors and there are people who have other jobs and are authors.
Yeah.
But on
Okay.
an individual title, is there ever a case where
No.
an author earns
Well,
more than the publisher?
Gee, that's a good question. It might be. Look, the average royalties in South Africa are anything between 12 and 18% of net. Net is after a discount and bookshop discount. And what's the other one?
Print.
No, not print. VAT.
That.
14% in book discount. Then you can you can take off production. We can do a long sommetje, but it's not a lot, eh? But what happens now is that authors would rather take less royalties but retain rights.
Yeah.
So I would say 10 years ago, authors were fine to give rights because there was a clause in the contract that said the publisher will do everything in its power to exploit those rights, and that was a horrible word. The idea of exploit was to do as much as possible with it, and then authors said, I don't like that because it's my work, I want to retain the rights. So authors are willing to take less royalties but retain rights so that they can do what they want with it. And I think in that sense the relationship between the publishing house and the author is even more important. So publishers will negotiate for better royalties, but I don't know if there's ever been someone who made more money than their publisher. Why are we in the business of publishing when we're an NGO?
What would happen in a situation where there's been an upfront payment? And,
Yes.
Then you pay more, but you don't sell as
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So if you do a commission-based fee, we commission the book, let's say for 200,000, we pay you that 200,000 rand to write the book, and then the book sells less, and the publisher actually loses money on it. Yeah, so that can
So
definitely.
that would qualify.
Okay, how to work well with authors. The first point on page 287 is educate them. Absolutely. That what I was talking about now, the publisher's pack, it's crucial. Educate them on also how you work internally as a publishing company. How do we do sales and marketing? Why do we do sales and marketing like that? Comprehend that your book is a puzzle piece in the bigger picture. You maybe take up 2 puzzle pieces and someone else takes up 7 puzzle pieces. But working with authors, the more information they have, the easier they are to work with. You will get tough questions.
I remember with Zizi Clemens, she was in South Africa for the author tours and stuff.
Yeah.
So one public was complaining, saying Zizi, it's so difficult to work with because she don't want to attend interviews, she don't want to do that. She just want to stay in the hotel.
Really?
Exactly, it was horrible. She
Wow.
complained all the time. Like, what does she expect?
Yeah.
She has to promote the book also.
Exactly.
She has to attend the scheduled interviews.
Exactly.
Isn't she contracted to do that? Like she kind of has to do it. She can't just not show up.
Exactly. So she was like, I'm tired. I don't know.
You're not sure, but I'll drag her out.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, and I think that education bit probably works both ways. Letting the author understand where your role and responsibility starts and stops, and where their roles and responsibility starts and stops. I think that's vital. And those can be very difficult conversations. I've never had a difficult conversation with production or sales or marketing. I've only had difficult conversations with authors. Because they're the ones with all the questions. Okay, encourage them to get in touch with you at the right time in the production cycle. So very often they have specific needs or ideas that they do not make known to you at the right time of production. And so, for example, they say they would rather have footnotes, and you've already set the book to have endnotes. And then they've never told you why they would prefer footnotes instead of endnotes. So that can also happen. And I think that's very much related to educating authors and making authors understand why you do what you do and how you do it. Okay. Encourage them to consolidate their requests, suggestions, and contacts. So we would usually have a kind of a, I don't want to call it a pilot close-off, but it's just before you actually launch the book. So when in the old days we would still receive blue proofs. Giving away my age. We don't receive blue proofs anymore. Blue proofs were like the copy that Talita had here, which is the unproofread edition. But it was not actually bound. It was, you remember galleys? So you remember galleys? So galleys are basically a roll of paper with the entire book on. It was never cut pages. So you would receive a roll and then you'd go through it. Yeah.
Like a scroll,
Like a toilet roll, really. Yeah. So there I gave away my age. Anyway, so by the time you receive those, you know that you're at the printer. That's when you have a good project closeout with your author to say, we're here in the process now. What did you like and enjoy about the process up to now? We are now heading into the sales and marketing phase of the book. This is what we have planned. This is where we need your help. Can you provide additional contacts? Can you provide additional information? And they will come with hundreds of ideas. But you must have the plan already. Because otherwise their expectation is that you're going to take what they've given you and turn that into a plan. That's not what we want as a publisher. We want to show them the plan and then ask them for their input. Because our plan is based on a budget. Their plan is based on wishful thinking. Okay, so you have a marketing plan ready, you're about to go to print, you're going to get your 3,000 copies, then you have a session with the author to discuss about what can they do to help. Do they have specific contacts? Okay. When you've already evaluated the value of the manuscript and the value of the author, you will know what digital assets and what marketing collateral they have within themselves. Okay, so you will have that information, prior to your publishing decision. But there is a point where you show them the marketing plan, you get their ideas, and you incorporate their ideas. Okay, you drive the marketing plan.
So the marketing plan comes before the, I guess, publishing process, or?
That's right. That's right. So actually, usually while you're in the process of publishing, your sales and marketing team start drafting the marketing plan already. Okay. So in some instances, like for example, schools, the marketing plan is very standard and very basic. It involves the sales reps, it involves roadshows. If a book first has to get approved by the Department of Education, you can actually do nothing. You can't invest any money. So trade, it's lovely because we can start sales and marketing early in the life of the book. But for education, we can only start once a book has been approved, except if it's material we're willing to take a risk on. In higher education, we commission books who have academic authors at institutions. So we know we have an offset market already, and then we've got very standard marketing tools for higher education. The sales conferences, the new book notices to bookshops. They never do like a big, radio interview with the author for students, because students just really don't care. But if you think about it, do you ever wonder who the author is of your academic textbooks?
No.
I like that honest no. Would you like to get to know them better?
No. That's a lot. They just said a lot to me anyway. So.
We don't enjoy our relationship with our academic textbooks.
It's so sad.
Could you just say what I want you to say instead?
I can read a normal book in like a day, and like a textbook, like.
I so wish one of you would be brave.
Chapters, like.
I wish one of you would be brave and you would take on the sales and marketing of academic textbooks. Because we really need that to be revived sooner rather than later. Are you all going to trade? No, it's fine. Okay. So encourage them to consolidate their requests, suggestions, and contacts. Enlist their help, but within your plan. Yes, let them help, but you give the guidance. You never let them give the guidance, okay? They can help, but you've got the plan. You've got the budget. You know how it fits into the rest of your publishing list. Give them feedback. So tell them when they're doing something well. Maybe that author who was so tired pulling really needed someone to tell her, she did a great job yesterday. One more to go. Come, come, come. Okay. So they need lots of encouragement and lots of feedback. Support their marketing efforts. Now this is quite a difficult one for me because yes, they can have websites, yes, they have their social media. And that's where the collaboration part comes in. But you also have a certain standard of quality to uphold. You have to decide, like we said, when is it your voice and when is it the author's voice? But also what is being communicated and when. So it's not just how it's said, but what is being said. Okay? Because, let's say for example, you decide to run a special on an author's book, and for, let's say it's a book, it's a love story, it's a who did the Notebook? That one. He's released a new book and it's coming out on Valentine's Day, and you decide to run a special on Valentine's Day, and you give it a 14th of February 14% discount, something like that, 14, 14, 14. And the author isn't aware of it. And they say, but why is my book on discount? And there's miscommunication, they're going to be very upset. On the other hand, if you do, and this happens a lot, I'm sad to say, when publishers put an author's book on the backlist, moves to the backlist, and there's too much stock, and they sell it at a high discount price to get rid of the stock, and the author wasn't informed. That makes a mess. Because one, remember when it's at a big discount, the author's going to get less royalties. So now they don't understand, it's selling lots, but I'm actually getting less money. Okay, and if you then communicate, and what lots of publishers do is they say, here's our bulk discount list to booksellers or to the public. They say these 10 books are on bulk discount this week, and the author doesn't know that. That looks really bad. Okay. Or when the author communicates, the price of the book is R299.95, and actually the price of the book is R320.99. Okay. So the communication is vital, and like I said, it's not just how they say it, but what gets communicated. So have a clear line with authors about who communicates price, who communicates the ordering process, who communicates on returns, who speaks to the media. So some publishers make it clear. If there is a request, you're my author, Lewis, and you get a request from 5FM to do an interview next Saturday, please send that request through to us and we'll handle it. Because what happens, the author goes on their own, we don't know it's there, we could not support them in those endeavors, they might want 2 or 3 copies to give away on air, we don't know that, just miscommunication. Now there is a thing that says there's nothing like bad publicity, true, but you want to collaborate with your author, and collaboration is so much easier today. Alright, and then there's a very nice section on working with authors who have previously self-published, so please look at that if you're a master's student, because you have an additional question on that in your assignment. Now, what we can look at perhaps, let's just see, go on. Pause for effect. There we go. Where I'm very interested in the sharing and the collaboration is really this thing about when does the author start and finish, when does the publisher start and finish. Okay, what is Pottermore?
It's J.K. Rowling's.
Yes.
And that they like interact with like their users, like they sort of
Yes.
go to your house and you read one.
The official
Oh.
House
website.
news, yeah.
Oh,
It's amazing.
it's moving at a glacial pace.
Harry Potter is it really? I just forgot about it for like 3 months.
I got busy.
Harry Potter game.
Oh, finally. I'm 100 years old. Okay. So here is Pottermore, Wizarding World. So there it says writing by, I'm sorry it's so small, can you see? Writing by J.K. Rowling. Explore the story, Fantastic Beasts, Cursed Child, features, news, book club, sorting and shop. To what extent do you think a website like this is kept going, for lack of a better word, by the author, and when is it the publisher?
This is by the author, if I understand.
It's purely by the publishing. It's not by the author, she just endorses it.
Oh, I thought she
doesn't
had the
sit
rights
and do that,
and
no.
It's like
So here it says,
That's the movie logo.
Wizarding World Publishing and Theatrical Rights, J.K. Rowling, Pottermore.com and artwork, copyright Pottermore Limited, so she started a business, and then Warner Bros. Entertainment. So this seems to me like it's the Warner Bros. Made the films, eh?
I think they have like all the, well actually no, I think she still has the franchise rights.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, she's
But
She has
this is
the
the,
digital
she
rights.
doesn't write the content on the website, but it's her, like she's, like this is the.
It's her
the
brand.
show, and this is the one she backs.
Mm.
But it isn't her like sitting on like
Yeah.
the website all day. That's, she ain't got time for
No,
that.
but she owned the digital rights. So it was her
Yes.
idea to create.
Oh no, it's her idea, but she doesn't sit and do
Another
it.
one.
I think there is a point with, especially with author websites, where the publisher takes over. I think the author has the ideas and starts it, and then it becomes part of your marketing plan.
But I mean, nowhere does it say Bloomsbury on it.
No,
I
no.
don't think this is the publisher who does it. I think it's Warner Brothers.
You're like, and she's
It's
got her
interesting
own
though that
The
there's-
Wizarding World logo at the top, that's the one from the movie.
Yes.
That's not a, that has nothing to do with
But I do think, yeah, like you said, she started this because I know she has Lumos as well, that's a charity foundation.
Yeah.
She started all of this.
So she owns the right.
She's like, I
Yeah.
put my, she puts her stamp on them and then.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and yeah, she's like, okay, just cool. And then, like, yeah.
Okay, so let's look at another one. I just want to see. So J.K. Rowling is very good for her social element, and I want to say for her content. Okay, so let's look at something like jamespatterson.com. My best American accent. That was really good. Oh no, please don't do that. If that cannot be.
That's a weird website. That looks like a middle-aged man's website.
Middle-aged man's website. Since you're all doing trade, we're going with
This
trade
one, that was
authors.
beautiful. Now this one's like, it's like the most standard website.
I must tell you, this gave me flashbacks of 1997, early HTML. When it was loaded.
It's like a weird.
So that was his children's book, eh? So there he is with the president, with our former president. Read 7 chapters of Texas Ranger free.
Oh, Texas Ranger.
Read 6 chapters of Juror number 3 free.
That's actually really clever.
Yes. Read Cuddly Critters for Little Geniuses. So, on sale now, on sale now, on sale now. Who do you think endorses this website? I must tell you, this is a heavy content website.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily the nicest design. He's clearly on all the social media platforms. What's BB? BlackBerry Messenger is out.
Stop.
What is that?
Barbie books.
Wow.
What is that?
Click on it, see where we go.
See where we go. BookBub. I didn't know that. Wow, that's nice. BookBub.
It must be like Goodreads.
Yes, it's like Goodreads.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So he's got all his social media there, email, etc. There's his books, the bookshops, coming releases. There's his community. Instagram, Pinterest, videos, newsletter, sign up. There's About James. And then sweepstakes, I take it. I wonder what sweepstakes is.
Yeah.
Sweepstakes. Enter the sweepstakes for a chance to win one of 5 bundles of How to Be a Supervillain. Now, if you look at this website, there's a, whereas if you compare it to this one, it's very much storytelling. there's indirect selling of the book,
Yeah.
of any of the books. This is about stories and content. This, on the other hand, gives me a little bit of self-publishing in my throat. And remember, I did my master's in self-publishing. I'm all for self-publishing. But it's very much direct selling, okay? In your face. Buy, 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 buy.
On sale.
Sale. Get the best prices. The President's Museum, free book alert.
Wow.
Then there's the movie reviews. There's coming releases. That's quite nice, eh? With covers. That's
part of it.
yeah. There's news. There's his Facebook. In store now. So selling, selling, selling. Okay. This is probably why he's the biggest.
He's doing fine on this.
But I
Yeah.
don't think it's his target market because, like, I mean, people who go onto Pottermore may not necessarily have buying power online.
Good point.
Where people who go to him are going, I want to find where I can buy this.
Good point. That's a brilliant point. So, the people who read J.K. Rowling are not necessarily the ones who buy it.
Yes.
Primary target market versus secondary target market. Whereas in this case, your primary and your secondary is the same thing. The people who love James Patterson are also the ones who buy it. They have a purchasing powder. Good point. Okay. Give me another author. Give me a local one. Does he have a website? Kom ons kyk. dionmeyer.co.za. Maybe it is .com. I don't know. Oh, that's definitely not his website. Suzelle DIY. Yeah, but she's like a... She is a brand. dionmeyer.com. I underestimated you, Mr. Meyer.
And it looks nice.
Very nice. Yeah, this looks like Murder on the Orient Express in the Karoo. Okay, so there are all his books, FAQs. I wonder what FAQs is for an author. Biography, events and signings. And then you can obviously have the website in Afrikaans. Click here on details on all books. Nice clean website, eh?
Very good.
Frequently asked questions. How can I get my book signed? Wow. Where can I buy? So there he has links to exclusive books at Takealot. Advice for writers. Why does Dion read? Will he write my story? Did you know? News snippets. Lovely website. Not threatening at all. And then Blake Friedman. So that's his international agent. And you can actually email the website here. Not bad. Not a lot of his voice though.
No.
I'm going to be honest, here I definitely get a sense of Mr. Patterson himself writing some of this text. Yeah.
Especially with the color.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Hey?
Yeah.
But whereas this is very much downplayed.
Yeah.
It is almost as creepy and as icy as some of his books are. So which is not bad.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if there's a blog made where he actually talks to people. Does he have a blog? Or is he on social media? On social media. It's just a little bit pristine to my taste. Too pristine. There's something missing. Oh, I'm going to see all my notices on Facebook. There he is, Dion Meyer, author.
It's okay with the screen's going off, so.
Yeah.
It's overheating, it's freaking out.
Oh my word. Okay, don't worry, you can't see any of my Facebook posts. Okay, so Dion Meyer is not bad. Give us something else. Your favorite authors. Who reads Veronica Roth?
Me.
Hey?
I'm great.
Tell us what Veronica Roth does.
I don't know. She doesn't she write divergence? I haven't been on a website though.
I think she has a nice one.
The only
I
time
can't
ever
believe it's
look
over.
at authors when I'm like, when's the next book coming out?
Yeah, I'm like, wing.
Yeah. So she has veronicarothbooks.com. Sorry, let's just get this thing to hopefully give us some more time. go. It's going to come on now. Hey?
So my authors who aren't full-time authors, like one of them, Vusi Tembekwayo,
Yeah.
is nothing even about his books, it's
Yeah.
about other things that he does.
Oh, you see.
The rest of the people,
What does he do in his full-time job? What's his name, Vusi?
Vusi Tembekwayo.
Sure, he's number 2, hey, on Google. So he's clearly... He has a website.
Yeah.
He's very verbal on Twitter.
Actually, I
The
know-
rock star of public speaking.
Yeah.
You see, that could be why. So he has a personality beyond the book.
Oh, and then the book is about
Was this his first book? So there is his website. That's quite a nice website. It's nice to actually have a...
7.8 million.
Yeah.
Fucking great. What?
Wow, this is self-promotion.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell my ego, right?
This in a nutshell. Business mogul, so he's on Dragon's Den. Global speaker.
Oh my, he's walking away from
He's that with Mika Hakkinen. Look, you gotta give it to the man.
Damn.
This is, if he has a following, this is what they follow. They want to follow that lifestyle. They want to follow this. The Magna Carta of exponentiality. Wow. Gee, that looks interesting. And then you book Vusi now, so you can book him on his website, and there's a newsletter. Can you buy his books on here?
It's not even mentioned.
No, it's not mentioned on the homepage. Tell him. Oh, wait, no, Vusi. Africa Rising.
Those are the ebooks.
Those are his DVDs.
Yeah.
Tell him
He's
he's allowed to sell his book on here. Give him 50% of his of sales on his website. Because I'm quite sure he's got great traffic.
He does, especially on Twitter. But it's like, now his books are like a sandwich kind of.
Let's quickly see. How do I spell his name? Vusi?
Tembekwayo.
Them.
B-E.
B-E.
K-W-A-Y-O.
You see, there is an entrepreneur magazine. Hi, what was he trending for last year? Yeah. Okay, there's nothing. There's not a lot of data on him.
Well, at that time, he actually went to Dubai, and he was with another lady that's, I forgot her name, a famous lady as well on Twitter. So they posted separate pictures of being in Dubai, but people put them together. Like, oh, so guys.
Okay, wait, here we go. This is better. So you can search there under. So this is quite a nice one, actually for anything online. Just go to trends.google.com. So if you want to see anything that's relevant on anything. So if you look at Vusi Tembekwayo, he's quite open enough, which is fantastic. He's training mostly in the Free State and in Gauteng. Does he come from the Free State?
I think, yeah, it's Sotho.
You see, so you must, so now if I was doing his book, I would see clearly, look, don't even go to the Northern Cape, you're going to get nothing there. You can see that there. Nobody searched for him online in the last 12 months in the Northern Cape. He's extremely popular in the Free State and the Gauteng, so that's where you do your marketing activities. So if you say the fact that he is Sotho, then I would push that probably as a sellable feature of him as an author. Okay. Related topics, there we go, exclusive books.
Yes,
So he was featuring on exclusive books.
he recently launched a new book, I think.
Okay, fantastic. And then obviously this thing about his on the Magna Carta is quite interesting. Who is Sizwe Mpofu Walsh? Is he another author?
He's an author. He's also the son of Dali.
Oh, Dolly Mpofu. So you must maybe get them to do an event together. Because they're obviously trending together. You see. Related queries, Twitter, and then his books. That's very nice. So make sure you mark it on Twitter, because obviously he's on Twitter and his following is on Twitter. And his books are already quite popular as a search term. Okay, so you see something like this. Let's see if we did Dion Meyer just as an interest, as a comparison. Oh, my Bliksem. Sorry. Okay, but remember this, trends.google.com. Okay.
I thought about it and then I forgot about it.
It is just the machine, hey? It's not us that's doing anything to the machine.
Maybe it's the weather.
Yeah, it could be. Alright, so while that's warming up again, so just to, let's maybe look at your assignments in the meantime. So like I said, we were supposed to do all the marketing tools last week, we didn't. Please read them through. I'm not going to bore you with what is a flyer, what is a poster. You know that. You are inundated with those things yourself as consumers, alright? The direct marketing, please make sure that you read through chapter 8 and that you also read through chapter 11 where we have the specific reference to the authors. Okay. I'm going to touch on direct marketing when we do digital marketing because there's a very clear line there of things that correlate. So you could read through chapter 8 in preparation for next week's lecture. That would be great. Alright. In the meantime, it has stopped its noises, so let's try again. There we go. Your assignment for next time.
What does it do? Next time?
Next time, no. I'm sure.
Next week we'll have a legit kind of advice.
Yeah. But you're actually only going to have probably 2 weeks for this one.
And then the big one.
And then the big one. But this is a fun one, I
Sure.
think.
Like the last one.
My definition of fun is not having it.
Oh, I understand. I understand. Okay, sorry, let me just open up. So can you see? No, it's still not happiness. There we go.
What's all the Grey's
Okay, so here's Dion Meyer on Google Trends. Also up and down, up and down. Oh my goodness, look at that. The Western Cape, 100. He lives there, hey? Dion Meyer. I think he lives there. So he's extremely popular in the Western Cape. So that's how all the searches come from. And then from Gauteng after that.
The rest of the country, he's missing out.
Yeah.
Everyone else like, hey, that guy's out far.
Nothing.
Maybe not enough marketing in those places.
Nothing. 13 hours, I don't know what that is, you can look there and then you can see Booker. So the fact that it's Booker Eerste means it's got a bigger Afrikaans reader population than English. And then Koers is quite one of his popular titles. So if I was the publisher, I'd probably do a bundle package where I sell his new book with Koers. So you can sell his new book and then do a bundle package where you sell new book and Koers together. Because Koers is clearly popular. So you see how you can use something like that even to just get some information. Okay, there we did Koers. Again, Western Cape. La la la. Okay, let's see what does James Patterson look like in South Africa.
And then Jake.
Yeah, we can do that. It's fun. Hey, Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, 91, and Gauteng. So look at that. Where do we find our reading populations in South Africa? Western Cape and Gauteng. But KwaZulu-Natal is quite big, 91%. Women's Murder Club, yo. So he's clearly popular under the ladies as well. That's a whole novel series, but that's something to push if I was the publisher. Books, book list. So nobody actually cares anything else about him, just his books. What was the one you mentioned? J.K. Rowling. Western Cape, yes, we've got great readership in KwaZulu-Natal. Hey? Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and then Stephen King. Did he say something about her books?
They often tweet, like she'll often tweet or like or retweet
Okay.
pieces and vice versa.
And look at that interesting search. J.K. Rowling net worth.
And then only books.
Yeah.
Just wanted to,
Everybody wants to know.
they know she was at one point the richest woman in the world.
Yeah.
For real?
And then she donated a lot of money.
Okay. Let's do the ultimate test.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be nothing. In South Africa.
Western
Western
Cape.
Cape.
Western Cape, just leave.
Hotel building function and Bloomsbury cars. It's not even about the publisher.
Wow.
So did the publisher brain feature? No. Let's do penguin. Oopsie. Penguin. Penguin random house.
That's gonna be like Joburg and mostly my Google.
Let's say South Africa because there are different subsidiaries.
Let's say like what is it?
Nothing.
Social media?
Nothing. There's actually no data.
Just say penguin then?
I'm pretty sure that's a lie because I've Googled him at least 100 times in the last week.
Depends probably on how you spelt it. There we go. Western Cape and Gauteng.
Western Cape.
Publishing book Penguin Random House Hunting. Yeah. You can actually put anything in here. Give it to us. Okay. So you can use Google Trends. I think that's one nice one to use. All right. Okay. So let's just look at your assignment for. It's not going to be next week. Don't worry.
Alright, no class.
Next Monday is no class. You've got a holiday. You're supposed to braai and celebrate your heritage. What is your heritage, Lewis?
I don't know. Really.
Make your own. Start today.
It's now Brian. Everyone Brian. That's like your favorite.
Do you know what? I was in American school, Lewis. And when I was 8 years old, I dressed as a pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
A pilgrim, and I did Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Assignment 3. Following lectures 9, the direct marketing. So you must please read chapter 8 on direct marketing as well. You cannot ignore that chapter. You are tasked to pick one of your favorite authors to research and evaluate in terms of their brand. Oh, my bliksem. I thought you could see this. No, I didn't print it because I didn't send it in time. So just listen and then I'll put it on there again. Oh, please tell Colleen I'm sorry. I'm saying bliksem all the time.
It gives a real world experience.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I have no idea.
It's like thunder, but yeah.
It's a rude word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Colleen. Okay. Identify who your chosen author is, what content do they create, which is another way of saying what do they write, and subsequently publish commercially. So profile the author for me, please. Do they do fiction, non-fiction, children's literature, adult? Hey?
This actually is fun. Yeah, I'd like to do that. That's interesting.
Okay, yeah. So this is going to be fun. Discuss the role of the author for the marketing and sales of their content, making specific reference to the following marketing activities. And when I say content, please try and look at not just print. So if they do movies, include movies. If they do play or theatre, include that. Because remember, an author is more than just what he publishes in a print format or in an ebook. Okay. So please try and include all references to content, because content is subsidiary rights. Then what you have to look at, the author's website versus the publisher's website. So I want you to look at the author's website, and I want you to look at how that author is featured on the publisher's website. Okay. You can do a little Google Trends analysis there, like we did now, to see who is actually trending, where, and how much. But what amount, you don't have to give me a percentage, but how much is that author featured on the publisher's website and to what extent? Or does the publisher's website refer to the author's website? Or is there no author's website and there's only a publisher's website? So look at also at the URL, because that'll give you a good indication. Some publishers do publisher.com/ and the author's name. Then you know it's an author's website on the publisher's website. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is to what extent is the publisher involved in the author's website, and to what extent is it the work of the author. Okay, that is important. From what we've seen from James Patterson, Dion Meyer, and J.K. Rowling, we never saw the publisher feature. Not even on James Patterson's website. We saw all his books, but not the publisher. Okay. Then the second thing, the author's social media versus the publisher's social media. The important thing here is what is the author's roles and responsibilities? What is the publisher's roles and responsibilities? This is a very practical assignment, so I'm not expecting millions of references. It'll be nice if you can reference a source that says this is the role of the author's website. This is the role of social media and publishing. So give me something that I can see you've researched, but here I want to see you do practical analysis of the things as they are. Okay, without saying I.
Right.
So the author's social media versus the publisher's social media. What's the author's roles and responsibilities? What's the publisher's? And can you see a clear distinction? Then, public relations and dealing with the media and the press. So you'll find on the author's website that they very often reference in the news, media, press releases, events. To what extent is that only on the author's website and not by the publisher? How does the publisher push events? What can you find out that the publisher is actually doing? Okay. So public relations, and the last one is events. And we just had the South African Book Fair, so if you do a local author, it'll be nice to see if they're featured there. That's it, yeah. Sure. Can't remember when was the last time we had. Yeah. Okay. Critically discuss how authors impact the total brand of the publisher in comparison to their own, taking into consideration the important things for publishers to understand about authors. So all those soft issues that we mentioned tonight. Okay. Just keep that in the back of your mind. But this is now where I want you to do some deep analysis of sources, because there are some brilliant sources that talk about the publisher's brand versus the author brand. What is the value of the publisher's brand versus the author's brand? So you find your author, you profile your author. Once your author is profiled, you look at their website versus the publisher's website and how they're featured on the publisher's website, their social media versus the publisher's social media, and the difference in roles and responsibilities, how each of them deal with public relations, how each of them deals with events. Okay, and then you're going to end it off by saying, which is bigger? Which brand is bigger? And why? And how do authors impact the publisher's brand, if at all? And how does the publisher's brand influence the author? So think about it. Don't jump in and start writing, think about it. Drink wine and think about it. Okay. MA students, you have an additional question. What are the benefits and hurdles of working with a previously self-published author? Just briefly. Okay. And this, my lovelies, is done on Monday the 1st of October. So it's 2 weeks. I had to give you a lot of extension on the other one, but this is a fun one. Okay. And there's a lot of information on this in the public domain that I know you can source.
So, if the chosen author was not a previously published author, would it be okay then
Absolutely.
to contact someone else? Just
You can work with an author who's never been published, and you can say he doesn't have a website. But then you have to explain to me what the publisher's website is. What will the role of the publisher's website then be in promoting that? So I don't care what you choose, but motivate it for me, so that I can see you've thought about this and you can convince me of your viewpoint. Okay. Everybody happy? Those are the authors. Remember Google Trends, it's a nice one to use. And then after you are back, after Heritage Day and Pride Day, another little week of rest, we do digital. Okay. And digital is quite fun. So we're going to do a little digital content calendar in class in the second one. Okay. Thank you, everybody. That's it for tonight. 10 minutes early. Everybody happy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.